Okay, to set up our drawing limit, we can do that one of several ways. We can type dim style, or we can type D, enter. This should bring up the dimension style manager dialog box. We can edit these or we can create a new one. I will be creating a new one, so I'm click on new. I choose to give this a name. Let's name this one um, uh, plain and solid geometry. So this one I probably will be using for plain and solid geometry. Now next step is to go with line here. This setting, dimension setting, is relative to the type of drawing that you're doing. Say for example, if you're doing building drawing, you would need some different measurement as opposed to plain and solid geometry. Typically, plain and solid geometry or engineering drawing are probably 150 millimeters in length or probably width, while for building drawing are typically 10, 15, up to 18 or 20,000 millimeters. So big difference for this plain and solid geometry line. First one. So the color of the line, I can determine that. If I want that to be one of those colors, that be dimension line to be red. Line type, let it be standard. Line weight, I don't need to trouble that. Extend beyond thick, that is okay. No, this is important. Extension beyond dimension line. This is how much the extension line will extend beyond this line. Very important. So for plain and solid geometry, I probably make this 2 millimeters. 2 offset from origin. This determines the distance between the extension line and the joint object right here. This space right here is determined by offset from origin. So for that, I would use say 3 millimeters. And to see how it looks same time, you can press tab. What tab does, tab adjusts it instantly. So to me, that seems a little bit too much. So I'm going to change that to probably 2. 2 tab to see what's going on. So 2 seems good. If this was a building dimensioning, I would let that offset distance be probably 150 or 100 millimeters. I like to make it 150, sometimes 200 millimeters. Alright. Critically, leave this blank. Fixed length of extension line. If you tick this, what this will do, this will give you a definite length, a standard length for this section. You don't really want that. You don't want that. So leave this section here blank for now. Next, go across to symbols and arrows. For building drawing, I would use the architectural tick. If you're doing plain and solid geometry, you would use something like closed fill arrow, or you could choose any one of these. Alright, so for now I'll choose close fill arrow. Now the next step is to determine the arrow size, which is right here. This is important. The arrow size is important. You want your arrow size to be, the side of the arrow is relative to the side of the drawing also. So say for example, if my drawing is 60 by 80 millimeters, I probably would want an arrow size of probably 4 or 5 millimeters. So that is also important, the size of the drawing that you plan to produce. Let's make this 4 millimeters. Down further we have our center mark. This determines the size of the center line. So I'm going to let this be about 3. That is if you're drawing circles or arcs. Yeah. Dimension break. This determines the distance between the dimension line and the text. Dimension text. Jog height, I will leave those for now. We won't be using those. Text. This is important. Ever so often persons dimension a drawing just to realize that they cannot see the text. Why? The text is too small. For if this was a building drawing, I probably would use 250 or 300 millimeters for my text height. I would use the wall as a reference. So I would want it to be probably 2 times the distance of the wall, or the width of the wall per se. So this being plane and solid geometry, I would use say 8, probably 10 millimeters would be good. So let me work with 10. All right. Frame around text. If you tick this, you will generate a frame, probably a box or something around the text. So if you want that, you tick this. Alright, if I tick this, you see what's going on? A box is created around here. If you want that, keep it. If you don't, untick this. You can also place your text vertically, horizontally, or in a particular direction. Offset distance from dimension line. I think offset distance from dimension line. This determines how far the text is from the dimension line. Offset from dimension line, this determines that. Yeah, so let that be about 2. Let's play around with this a bit and see what's going on. Let's make this be 7. Press tab to see what's going on. Alright. Let's make this be 10. Let's make it 15. Press tab. See what's going on. See, the space here is extended. I think I made a mistake earlier on. The offset from dimension. This is the one. This determines the space between the text and the dimension line. So I'm gonna readjust this to probably say 3 millimeters. Tab to see what's going on. 3 or 4 should be good. Now, text alignment. You can choose to align your text horizontally, which is what we have there, or to align with dimension line. You notice, align with dimension line, it aligns pretty much with this. If we choose ISO standard, this will change. The thing about ISO standard is that the difference between ISO standard and regular standard. When you're dimensioning circles, the dimension line starts from the center and extends outward if you were to choose ISO standard. While with regular standard, it tends to dimension from the tip of the arc or the circle outward. So that's what I noticed about that. So for now, I'm going to stick with horizontal. Now, I finished that. Fit, we can make some little adjustment there. I won't be altering those. Primary units. Here is where you determine how many decimal places you want on the unit. If you want 2 decimal places, you would click that. If you want none, you go 0. I tend to work with no decimal places. Alright, scale factor, that. Next thing, if you want an alternate unit, say for example you want to use inches and millimeter. Say for example in Jamaica we still have the good old feet and inches. Yeah, so we work with that. So I wouldn't really change that. You know, go back to text, what is what, that is okay. Alright, to activate this you must set it current. Set that current, and I'm going to click here on it and close. Alright, so I'm going to draw a figure right here, a rectangle, probably with a circle. C, enter, M2P, M2P, give me the middle of 2 points. I'm going to click here, and I click here to generate my circle right there. Then I'm going to so to dimension this, I'm going to go across so this right here, linear dimension. I'll click here and there, and this is that. Yeah, I didn't use any specific measurements, you know, so what is that? No. Space bar to reactivate the last command. and I end up with that. Now, it's important to note that if you press the space bar 2 times, you can dimension by touching the line. So I touch this line, and look what happened. Oops, dimension generate. Again, I press space bar 2 times, and we have that. Alright, so I'm going to bring this down. How many minutes you have? 10 minutes. Now I'm going to dimension the circle. So I need to select either radius or diameter. I choose radius, so I click here and I add this out there. So that is pretty much that. Alright, that's pretty much how you dimension there.